You are listening to the best audio story of 2026. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and watch until the end so you don't miss the ending that will leave everyone stunned. I pretended not to know about my husband's affair for the perfect revenge. The night I found the hotel receipt, my husband was upstairs taking a shower and humming like a man with nothing to hide. That sound stayed with me for a long time. Not the receipt, not the woman's name, not even the bottle of wine listed under room service. The humming, that calm, careless sound of a man who believed he had lied well enough to come home clean. I was standing in the laundry room, sorting dark clothes from whites, when I checked the pockets of Daniel's navy jacket. I had done it 1,000 times before. Daniel forgot things in his pockets constantly. Coins, business cards, folded receipts, chewing gum wrappers, hotel key cards from work trips. That night, I pulled out a folded piece of paper. At first, I thought it was another business expense. Then I saw the hotel name, Aurelia Grand Hotel. I frowned. Daniel had told me he was at a late client dinner. My eyes moved lower. Guest. Daniel Carter. Additional guest, Vanessa Lane. Room type, king room. 1 night. 2 breakfasts. Bottle of wine. Overnight parking. The date was from the night before. My hand went cold. For a moment, the laundry room became strangely quiet, as if the house itself had taken a breath and stopped. Vanessa Lane. I knew that name. She worked with Daniel. Young, polished, ambitious Vanessa from his office. I had met her twice at company events. She had shaken my hand with a bright smile and said, "Daniel talks about you all the time." At the time, I thought that was sweet. Now I wondered what he had said. Upstairs, the shower was still running. Daniel was still humming. My first instinct was to run upstairs, throw the bathroom door open, and press the receipt against the glass. To scream. To ask him how stupid he thought I was. To demand why my husband's name and Vanessa Lane's name were printed on the same hotel bill. But then I stopped, because I knew Daniel. Daniel Carter was charming when he wanted to be. He could turn a mistake into a misunderstanding, a lie into a business emergency, a betrayal into my insecurity. If I confronted him with only one receipt, he would deny it. He would say Vanessa had been too drunk to drive. He would say he booked the room for her. He would say the hotel made an error. He would call me paranoid. Then he would hide everything. Delete messages, move money, warn Vanessa, prepare a story, maybe even make me look unstable before I could protect myself. So I did something that surprised even me. I took a photo of the receipt. Then I folded it exactly as I found it and placed it back in his jacket pocket. By the time Daniel came downstairs, wearing sweatpants and smelling like my shampoo, I was standing at the stove, stirring soup. He walked in and kissed my cheek. "Long day," he said. I smiled. "Do you want dinner?" He looked relieved, as if he had expected nothing else from me. "Yeah," he said. "That would be great." I served him soup. I sat across from him. I watched him eat. Inside, my heart was breaking into pieces so sharp I could hardly breathe. Outside, I asked, "How was the client dinner?" He sighed. "Exhausting. They kept me out forever." I nodded gently. "You worked too hard." Daniel smiled. He believed me. That was his first mistake. Daniel and I had been married for 12 years. From the outside, we looked like a success story. A good house in a quiet suburb, 2 cars in the driveway, a garden I worked on every spring, dinner parties with friends, holiday cards, anniversary photos, a husband with an impressive job, a wife who smiled beside him. Daniel was a senior executive at a medical supply company. He was confident, clever, and good in a room full of people. He remembered names. He laughed at the right moments. He knew how to make people feel important. That was one of the reasons I married him. When we first met, Daniel made me feel chosen. I was 27, working in marketing, tired of men who spoke only about themselves. Daniel was different. He asked questions. He listened. He remembered the name of my childhood dog after one conversation. On our 3rd date, he brought me tea instead of coffee, because I had once mentioned coffee made me nervous after 4 in the afternoon. I thought attention meant love. For a while, it did. We married after 2 years. Daniel cried during his vows. He said I was his safe place. I believed him. I built a life around that belief. I supported his career. I hosted dinners for his colleagues. I remembered birthdays for his clients' wives. I moved my own work around his travel schedule. When he had late nights, I kept food warm. When he forgot anniversaries until the last minute, I accepted flowers with a smile, because at least he had remembered before midnight. People said I was lucky. Daniel said it too. You know I couldn't do any of this without you. He would tell me at events, his arm around my waist. I used to glow when he said that. Only later did I understand that some men call you their rock because they expect you to stay still while they move however they want. In the last year, Daniel had changed. He came home later. He guarded his phone. He became impatient with normal questions. Where were you? Work. Who was there? Clients. Why didn't you answer? Emily. I was in a meeting. I told myself not to be suspicious. Suspicion felt ugly in a marriage, but the body often knows before the mind allows itself to know. I had felt something wrong for months. The hotel receipt gave it a name. Vanessa. That night, after Daniel fell asleep, I went to the guest room and cried into a towel so he would not hear me. I cried for the woman I had been an hour earlier. The one who thought her marriage was tired but repairable. The one who believed a husband coming home late was still coming home to her. The one who had met Vanessa at a company Christmas party and thought, she seems nice. At 3 a.m, I stopped crying. Not because I was done hurting, because something colder had entered the room. Clarity. I got out of bed, opened my laptop, and created a folder. I named it Daniel Evidence. The first file I saved was the photo of the hotel receipt. Then he sat there staring at the folder. One document. One piece of proof. Not enough. Not yet. By morning, I had made a decision. I would not confront Daniel until I was protected. I would not scream while he still controlled the money, the story, and the evidence. I would not let him turn my pain into his advantage. He thought my silence meant ignorance. He never understood that silence was where I would build my revenge. The first weeks were the hardest. Pretending is exhausting when the person beside you has broken your heart. Daniel kept lying. I kept smiling. He said he had late meetings. I said, don't work too hard. He said he was going to a conference. I said, safe travels. He said Vanessa was just part of the team. I said, she seems efficient. Every sentence tasted like metal in my mouth. But every lie he told made me stronger. Because now I was listening differently. I checked pockets. Receipts appeared. Restaurants, hotels, jewelry stores, flower shops, a weekend spa outside town. I photographed everything. I checked credit card statements and found charges Daniel had hidden under vague business descriptions. Client entertainment, travel expense, executive dinner. But the dates matched nights he had told me he was working late. I checked social media. Vanessa posted carefully. No direct photos of Daniel, but there were clues. A photo of 2 wine glasses with the caption, some nights are worth the wait. A picture of a hotel balcony. Soon, no more hiding. A close-up of a necklace. He said I deserved something beautiful. I saved screenshots. I felt sick every time, but I saved them. One night, Daniel came home with a small shopping bag from an expensive jewelry store, tucked badly inside his work bag. The receipt was gone, but the bag remained. 3 days later, Vanessa posted a photo of a gold bracelet. Best surprise from the best man. I saved that too. Daniel was not careful because he did not think he needed to be. He believed I trusted him completely. He believed I was too loyal to look. That was his second mistake. My best friend Maya was the first person I told. Maya had known me since university. She was sharp, honest, and impossible to shock. We met at a quiet cafe on a rainy afternoon. I had dark circles under my eyes and a folder full of printed proof in my bag. Maya looked at me once and said, "Who died?" "My marriage," I said. Her face changed. I handed her the folder. She read silently. Hotel receipt, Vanessa's posts, credit card charges, restaurant bills, a photo of Daniel and Vanessa reflected in a glass door from someone's company event. When Maya finished, she closed the folder carefully. "I'm going to ask one question," she said. I nodded. "Do you want to save the marriage or save yourself?" The question hurt, but not because it was cruel. Because it was clear. "I don't know," I whispered. Maya reached across the table and took my hand. "Then don't make any big emotional move yet. Find a lawyer." I started crying. "I feel stupid." "For trusting your husband?" "Yes." Maya's face hardened. "No, you are not foolish for trusting your husband. He is cruel for using that trust against you." I held on to that sentence for months. When shame came for me, I repeated it. I was not foolish. He was cruel. The lawyer's name was Grace Lawson. She was calm in a way I envied. Her office was small, tidy, and full of sunlight. She had silver hair, direct eyes, and the energy of someone who had watched hundreds of people arrive broken and leave stronger. I placed my folder on her desk. "I think my husband is having an affair," I said. Grace opened the folder. After a while, she looked up. "This is more than thinking." I swallowed. "What do I do?" "First, you do not confront him yet." I felt both relieved and ashamed. Grace continued. "You need copies of financial records, tax documents, property papers, insurance policies, account statements, and any evidence of marital funds being spent on the affair." I nodded. "Do not illegally record him. Do not hack accounts. Do not threaten him. Do not post anything online." I wasn't planning to. "Good. Anger feels powerful, but clean hands are more useful." She tapped the folder. "This is strong. But if he has been moving money, hiding assets, or using company expenses improperly, we need to document it carefully." I leaned back. I thought revenge meant making him hurt. Grace almost smiled. "Revenge is not screaming in the kitchen. Revenge is walking into court with clean hands and complete evidence." For the first time since finding the receipt, I felt something close to control. Not happiness. Not peace. Control. Grace gave me a list. Bank records. Mortgage papers. Savings accounts. Retirement accounts. Credit card statements. Phone bills. Tax returns. Business expense records. If I could access them legally. "Move quietly," she said. "Protect yourself first." I left her office with my folder under my arm and my spine a little straighter. Daniel was still lying, but now I had a plan. Over the next 2 months, Daniel became careless. Because I did not confront him, he relaxed. He left his phone on the kitchen counter. He forgot to log out of his tablet. He took calls in the garden, thinking distance meant privacy. He became bold in his lies because I rewarded them with calm. "I have a dinner with the Westbridge clients." "Of course." "I might stay near the airport. Early meeting." "That makes sense." "Vanessa will be traveling with the team." "Okay." He watched my face sometimes, searching for doubt. I gave him none. Daniel mistook peace for blindness. Meanwhile, I gathered everything. I discovered he had opened a private savings account 6 months earlier. He had transferred money into it little by little. Not huge amounts, just enough to be missed if I looked closely. I looked closely. I found charges for a weekend trip to Napa that he had called a leadership retreat. Vanessa had posted a photo that same weekend of a vineyard, Caption. "Best weekend of my life." I found a hotel booking under his name and hers for a conference weekend. I found a florist receipt from Valentine's Day. He had given me supermarket roses that year and said he was sorry. The day had been busy. Vanessa received 24 long-stemmed red roses at her office. I found a message on his tablet one night when he was asleep. The contact name was simply VL. "Vanessa, how much longer do I have to be your secret?" "Daniel, not much longer. I'm working on it." "Vanessa, you said that months ago." "Daniel, Emily trusts me completely." I have to do this carefully. I stared at the words. Emily trusts me completely. He wrote it like my trust was a tool. Like a door he knew would stay unlocked. I saved a screenshot. Then I sat on the bathroom floor and shook, not cried. Shook. Anger has a temperature. That night, mine became ice. Daniel also began preparing his version of the story. I noticed it in small comments. "We've grown apart, haven't we? You never seem happy anymore. Sometimes I think we want different things. You've become so distant." It was almost impressive. He had cheated. He had lied. He had spent our money on another woman. And now he was quietly building the idea that the marriage was failing because of both of us. Maybe because of me? One evening, he stood in the kitchen while I chopped vegetables and said, "Do you ever think maybe we rushed into marriage?" I nearly cut my finger. "We've been married 12 years, Daniel." "I know. I just mean maybe we became comfortable instead of happy." I looked at him. "Are you unhappy?" He sighed dramatically. "I don't know." I wanted to throw the knife at the wall. Instead, I placed it down carefully. "That must be hard for you." He looked surprised by my calmness. "Yeah," he said. "It is." I smiled sadly. "Maybe you should take some time to think." His eyes lit up, just a little. He thought I was opening the door he wanted. I was, but not to the room he expected. The perfect opportunity arrived in the form of Daniel's company anniversary gala. The company was celebrating 25 years in business. Daniel was receiving an award for leadership and integrity. Integrity. When he told me, I almost laughed. Instead, I said, "That's wonderful." He looked pleased. "You'll come, won't you?" "Of course. I'd like you beside me." That sentence nearly took my breath away. He wanted me beside him in public, while Vanessa waited for him in private. He wanted the wife on display and the mistress in the shadows. He wanted both. Again. But this time, I would decide what standing beside him meant. I called Grace the next morning. "There's a gala," I said. "He's getting an award." Grace was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Do you want him served there?" "Yes." "Are you sure?" "Yes." "Then we do it carefully." Grace helped me prepare. The divorce papers were ready. The evidence of hidden spending was organized. Grace also prepared a formal report for the proper company channels about possible misuse of company travel and expenses. We did not send gossip. We sent documents, receipts, dates, claims, hotel bookings, expense reports that did not match his stated business purpose. Truth, organized properly, is sharper than rage. Maya came over the night before the gala. She sat on my bed while I tried on dresses. I chose a simple black dress. Maya nodded. "That one. You think? You look like a woman who knows where the bodies are buried." I laughed for the first time in weeks. Then I cried. Maya hugged me. "You don't have to do this publicly," she said. "You can still choose quiet." I looked at myself in the mirror. For 12 years, I helped him build that public image. He used me as proof he was a good man. Maya nodded slowly. "I don't need to scream," I said. "I just need to stop being his proof." The gala was held in a grand hotel ballroom. Of course it was. Crystal lights, white tablecloths, tall flowers, men in suits, women in evening dresses, waiters carrying trays of champagne. Daniel looked handsome in a black suit. He complimented me when I came downstairs. "You look beautiful tonight." "Thank you." He kissed my cheek. His lips felt like a performance. At the ballroom, colleagues greeted us warmly. "Emily, so good to see you. Daniel talks about you all the time. You must be proud of him." I smiled. "I am very interested in tonight." Vanessa was there. She wore a silver dress and stood near the bar with a group of younger employees. When she saw me, her face tightened. Then she smiled. I walked over. "Vanessa," I said warmly. "Emily, you look lovely. So do you." Her eyes flicked toward Daniel. There was confidence in her face. Pity too. She thought she knew something I did not. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. During dinner, Daniel placed his hand over mine on the table. People saw, people smiled. The loyal wife, the admired husband, the perfect couple. By then, it cost me nothing. The award presentation began after dessert. Daniel's boss gave a speech about his leadership, his loyalty to the company, his dedication, his integrity. I watched Daniel stand and walk to the stage. Vanessa watched him too. He accepted the award and smiled into the lights. "Thank you," he said. "This company has been my second home." I thought. "Not your only second home." He thanked his team. He thanked Vanessa by name. "She has been an incredible support this year," he said. People clapped. Vanessa blushed. Then Daniel looked at me. "And most of all, I want to thank my wife Emily, my rock, the woman who has stood beside me through everything. I could not have built this life without her." The room applauded. I stood because people turned toward me. I smiled. I let them clap. Then, as Daniel stepped down from the stage, a man in a dark suit approached him. "Daniel Kortir?" Daniel smiled politely. "Yes?" The man handed him an envelope. "You have been served." The smile fell from Daniel's face. The room did not understand at first. Then Daniel opened the envelope. I watched the color drain from his face. Across the room, Vanessa stood still. Daniel looked at me. For the first time in months, he understood that I was not behind him. I was ahead of him. I walked over slowly. The room had gone quiet enough to hear the music still playing softly from the speakers. Daniel whispered, "Emily, what is this?" I said calmly, "You thanked me for standing beside you." "I did. I stood beside you long enough to learn exactly who you were standing with behind my back." His mouth opened. No words came. Vanessa's face turned pale. I did not shout. I did not cry. I did not show the room my pain. Daniel had done enough public performance for both of us. I leaned closer and said, "Grace has also sent the financial evidence to the appropriate people." His eyes widened. That was when he knew. The affair was not the only thing exposed. The money was too. The trips, the expenses, the lies. I stepped back. "Goodbye, Daniel." Then I walked out of the ballroom with every head turned toward me. Maya was waiting in the lobby. She took one look at my face and opened her arms. I held onto her and finally cried, not because I regretted it, because it was over. Daniel came home after midnight. I was awake, sitting at the kitchen table. His award sat in his hand like a useless piece of glass. He looked furious. Humiliated. Afraid. How long? He demanded. I looked at him. Long enough. You planned this? Yes. You humiliated me in front of my entire company. I laughed quietly. No, Daniel. You humiliated yourself. I only stopped protecting you from the truth. His jaw clenched. You could have talked to me. That almost made me angry enough to stand. I gave you 12 years to talk to me. He looked away. Vanessa meant nothing. I stared at him. Then you destroyed our marriage for nothing. He flinched. Good. He placed the award on the table. I made a mistake. No, I said. A mistake is forgetting milk. You booked hotels, bought jewelry, moved money, lied to my face, and thanked me in public, while humiliating me in private. That is not a mistake. That is a system. His shoulders dropped. I don't want a divorce. You should have thought of that before giving me evidence for one. Emily, please. No. We can fix this. I already fixed what I needed to. He looked confused. I stood. I protected myself. He stared at me as if seeing a stranger. Maybe I was one. Maybe the woman who folded his shirts, excused his late nights, and smiled beside him at company events had finally died in that ballroom. And maybe that was not a tragedy. Daniel stepped closer. I love you. I shook my head. No. You loved being trusted. You loved having a wife who made you look decent. His eyes filled. Where am I supposed to go? I almost laughed again. Ask Vanessa. Or ask one of your clients. You seem good at finding rooms. He looked wounded. I did not care. Your bags are in the hall. Emily, leave. For once, Daniel listened. Vanessa called me 2 days later. I considered ignoring the call. Then I answered. She sounded smaller than I expected. Emily? Yes. It's Vanessa. I know. Silence. Then she said, He told me you were separated. I closed my eyes. There it was. The old line. Maybe true. Maybe not. I don't know what he told you, I said, but you knew he was married. He said it was over. Did it look over when he brought me to company events? She did not answer. I continued. I'm not going to fight with you, Vanessa. I loved him. Maybe you did. He promised me he was leaving. I'm sure he promised many things. Her voice broke. I lost my job. I did not feel joy. That surprised me. By then, I was too tired for joy in another woman's fall. Did you help him misuse company trips? Silence. That is between you, Daniel, and your employer, I said. She whispered, Do you hate me? I thought about it. No, she cried softly. I don't? No. You thought you were stealing my life. You never realized you were only helping me escape his lies. She did not answer. I hung up. That was the last time I spoke to Vanessa. The divorce was not easy. Nothing involving betrayal, money, and pride ever is. Daniel tried to act wounded at first. He said I had embarrassed him. He said I was cold. He said my public stunt proved I had wanted to destroy him. Grace handled him beautifully. In mediation, Daniel said, she planned revenge. Grace looked at him and said, Mrs. Carter planned financial protection after discovering marital misconduct and hidden spending. There is a difference. I wanted to applaud. The evidence mattered. The hotel receipts, the jewelry purchases, the secret account, the expense records, the messages. Daniel could not easily twist the story. He could not claim I had imagined things. He could not hide the money. He could not make himself the victim of a marriage he had been quietly robbing. His company investigation moved separately. I did not control it. I did not need to. Daniel's own choices had created enough trouble without my help. That was the lesson I learned. The best revenge is often not doing something terrible. It is no longer preventing the consequences from arriving. Healing came slowly. At first, I thought revenge would make me feel powerful forever. It did not. The night of the gala gave me satisfaction, yes. It gave me a clean ending. It gave me back my voice. But after the applause, the silence came. I still had to wake up alone. I still had to grieve 12 years. I still had to ask myself why I had accepted so little for so long. I still had to rebuild a life without the identity of being Daniel Carter's wife. Therapy helped. Maya helped. Long walks helped. So did small, ordinary choices. Buying bedding he had never slept in. Changing the locks. Painting the bedroom a color he would have hated. Going to dinner alone and not feeling embarrassed. Opening my own bank statements without fear. Learning how quiet could feel peaceful instead of lonely. One afternoon, months after the divorce began, I found the first hotel receipt again. I had kept it in the evidence folder. The original paper had creases from the night I folded it and put it back in Daniel's pocket. The ink had faded slightly, but the names were still clear. Daniel courted Vanessa Lane. For a long time, that receipt had felt like the moment my life ended. Now I saw it differently. It was the moment my life stopped lying to me. I placed it back in the folder, not because I needed to stare at it, because it belonged to the record, not my heart. Daniel asked to meet after the divorce was almost final. Grace said I did not have to. Maya said she would come with me and sit 2 tables away, holding a fork like a weapon. I laughed and told her I would be fine. We met in a quiet cafe. Daniel looked older, not ruined, just smaller. The charm had worn thin. He sat across from me and folded his hands. I lost my position, he said. I heard. Vanessa left. I said nothing. My friends barely speak to me. I stirred my tea. Why are you telling me this? His eyes lifted. Because I need you to know I regret it. I looked at him for a long moment. Do you regret hurting me? Or do you regret losing the life that made you look respectable? He closed his eyes. Both. At least that was honest. He leaned forward. Did you plan all of this just to destroy me? I shook my head. No. I planned it so you could not destroy me. He looked down. I did love you. Maybe. You don't believe me? I believe you loved the version of me who trusted you without question. He had no answer. I stirred. Emily, he said. I paused. I'm sorry. I know. Can you ever forgive me? Maybe one day. Hope flashed across his face. I ended it quickly. But forgiveness will not be an invitation back into my life. His face fell. I left the cafe without anger. That was how I knew I was healing. The divorce became final in spring. I moved into a smaller house with a little garden and too much sunlight in the kitchen. Maya helped me unpack. She held up a box labeled Daniel Evidence. What do you want to do with this? I took it from her. Inside were copies of receipts, statements, screenshots, lawyer letters, and the first hotel receipt. For a while, that box had been my weapon. Then my shield. Now it was just paper. I placed the divorce papers inside, closed the lid, and wrote one word on top. Done. Maya smiled. That's it? That's it. No bon fier? No. No dramatic speech? I already had my bottom moment. She laughed. We put the box in the top of the wardrobe. Not hidden, not displayed, just stored. That evening, after Maya left, I sat in my new kitchen with a cup of tea and listened to the quiet. No Daniel coming home late. No phone buzzing face down. No lies about clients. No pretending not to know. Just quiet. For the first time in years, quiet felt like mine. People sometimes misunderstand the word revenge. They think revenge means cruelty, screaming, breaking things, ruining someone for pleasure. But that was not what saved me. If I had screamed the night I found the receipt, Daniel would have hidden everything. He would have called me emotional. He would have prepared his escape while I was still shaking. Instead, I stayed quiet, not because I was weak, because I had learned that a woman's anger is often used against her, while her evidence speaks clearly. I gathered the truth. I protected my future. I let Daniel stand in a room full of people and praise the wife he had betrayed. Then I let reality enter the room. That was the perfect revenge. Not because he suffered, but because I survived with my dignity, my finances, my truth, and my future intact. Sometimes the strongest response to betrayal is not screaming, begging, or breaking down in front of the person who hurt you. Sometimes strength is staying quiet long enough to protect yourself, gather the truth, and leave with dignity. The best revenge is not destroying the person who lied. It is letting them face the life they built without you protecting them from the consequences. Daniel thought my silence meant I knew nothing. He was wrong. My silence was not ignorance. It was preparation. And by the time he realized that, I was already free.